Why hello there, fellow explorers. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Of Life and Land. Episode 3, A Community Center to Jumpstart Trade. So I know that our bottleneck for the community center was sticks and stones. And I think to that end, I'm going to get another forestry hut. And maybe put it up here. There's like a big conifer forest up here. It's a bit far from our town center, but like, should be alright. And then the other one is, we need more stones. That was another bottleneck. And I'm not really sure where I want to put this. I don't necessarily want to overlap with the last one, because like, I don't want them drawing from the same stone source. Maybe actually right here. There's 6. Yeah, that'll work. So building 2 new employment locations for them, and then also getting a cabin over their heads. And making that a high priority. Now if we place the forester's cabin here, I can also start physically foresting the area myself. So we have conifers so far. So I'm going to grow some more. It'll take a little bit of labor to like sow, but you know, as they say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. So I'm going with the second best time, which is now. There we go. So I'm putting a bunch of trees around this forester stump. And let's give you processing speed and storage space. And then get this construction site for the stonemason up as well. Community center's getting pretty close to being done. I like it. Now, did I get any more leather from Carl? Nah, I don't think so. Some of that is just because the internal storage for the hunting lodge is full. So I'm going to add some additional storage here out of grass and planks so that we can stockpile more meat and hopefully get some more leather as a result of having that open space for meat. The other thing is the internal storage in the campfire is maxing out for cooked meals, and I could do more campfire storage as well, so I'm going to do that too. So we can cook more meat, gather more foods, and hopefully provide some more complex clothing. Come on, build this already. They're so busy collecting raw wood, there's just no sticks. Alright, how about this? Collect branches top. There we go. So there's the stonemason, and Wolfram's going to be working there in order to supply more stone for the community center. And they did get their house. So Georgia Wolfram, let's put the kids with them, because it's kind of weird that they're not. What was your children's names? Heidi and Baldwin? You don't actually, it doesn't really matter. I'm just, like, doing it anyways. Baldwin, Heidi. Rather than the kids living with, like, 2 male bachelors. It's kind of weird. All right, if we take a look at the progress here, Heidi, Baldwin, Wolfram are progress 1, and same with Georgia. They just moved here, so that makes sense. And then everyone else is progress 2. But so far, so good. And we are closing in on having that community center done as a result of doubling our wood and stone production. All right, we now have a max meat of like 210, and I'm hoping that will encourage Carl to get some more hunting done for leather, because I think hunting the European hare was just not good. And I can also change the hunts, so I can go like red deer to gray wolf. I don't want to get killed, but let's try it. Gray wolf and then foxes. Carl might need some band-aids. We'll see. Oh, wow! The community center is only some sticks and 1 stone away from being done. So I'm going to prioritize branches again, just so we can get the sticks and a single hewn stone, and we are a community. There it is. So, the top left up here, we now have access to the schedule. The schedule is how much time of the day did they work. And for now, I'm going to reduce their Saturday and Sunday schedules from 12 hours to 10. Oh, how generous I am. But yeah, they're going to be working the weekends. There's an upgrade here for pottery that comes much later on. Doesn't really matter for now. And then the other thing is, this is how you get immigration. So there are someone that wants to immigrate right now, and I can accept them. I'll accept 2. So we got Sybil and Jordan. 29 and 25. And they're living in this new or they will be in a minute living in this new cabin. The other thing is we can open up our map, which is this button down here, or the M key, as in Mike. And here is Yoda Valley. And the map wants us to discover the Tableland Deserts, which is this region. So in order to discover regions, we can spend 100 bread and 9,000 work effort to discover this one, 10 bread and 3,600 work effort to discover this one, or 10 bread and 3,600 to discover this one. So I'm going to click here, and what happens is we like spend bread to send someone to go make contact with the Tablelands. And I'll explain that in length once that process is done. Additionally, we did just bring in 2 new people. And... I'm considering where they should work. Maybe we'll get a barn. Let's go ahead and put a simple barn here with a wooden gate here, a high wooden fence, and that should do it. I might just surround the whole high wooden fence, even though I think, use ledges. I forget whether that's valid or not. But in case it isn't. There we go. So someone in the new group will work at the barn. And then the other thing is, let's make dairy. So I'm going to have a little dairy building here, right off the road, next to the barn, so we can get like cheeses and the like. Now, another thing that I'm sure is obvious to all of you is I have 0 more room for additional immigration. So while we do all that, it probably would benefit me to build another house, at least one, so that if anyone comes and asks if they can move here, I can actually say yes, rather than, oh, but wait. And the new people that are coming in are pretty happy. So I think it's only a matter of time until they level up into the next tier and contribute to even further progress in our little town. Daedora, thank you for the resub. So again, a reminder, we are working on the dairy building and the barn building. And then barn building is going to be higher priority than the dairy building. And we already have possible immigration because we are absolutely satisfying the needs of people. So, yep, sorry. I'm going to have to wait on that because there's nowhere for you to move in. I'm also going to make the small cabin a high priority as well. Ooh. Our gather shack is like completely filling up with stuff, which is awesome. Full of fruits, veggies, roots, sprouts, grass, grain. The grain's getting processed like pretty fast though. The cereal grains and then, you know, ground down and turned to bread. But the good news is all that bread is going to open up our work effort to find whatever that is. So I am also going to discover here too, whatever that is, because that was equally as cheap as Tablelands Desert. Might as well just do a 2-for-1. Oh, there we go. Sybil is our rancher. And I'm going to increase the animal capacity. And in here, what we could do is we can, she is starting to gather sheep to bring them over to the barn, which is going to give us a resource income of wool. So all these sheep that have been roaming around here, eating our crops and whatnot, will have somewhere to live and exist without being a nuisance. There we go. We're starting to milk the sheep and get the wool off the sheep. And with that milk, we'll have a new source of drinks. So milk is a mix of calories and water, essentially, in the game, whereas like water was just water. So it's also going to help us to hydrate while fulfilling our food needs, which is nice. A nice little combination there. And we already got a whole bunch of sheep. 4 sheep out of the 6 potential slots. And once the fence is built, it should be a little bit more clear where they're being stored. Still waiting on the fence deliveries, but that'll happen. All the materials for the small cabins almost being done and delivered. And then we can accept the immigrants. So the tablelands is 63% done. Pretty soon we'll be able to we discovered hills. Interesting, we discovered the other ones quicker. So the hills, I'm going to take a minute to explain. In Of Life and Land, some of the maps, including this one, has the concept of multi-colonies. So, for instance, Yoda Valley here only has a source of 10. We have 16 people living here. It is currently the fall. It's cloudy and wet, 11 Celsius. And if we wanted other resources like lead, we could either try to find another village that has lead and will sell us lead, or we colonize a new zone to exploit those resources. So if we chose to exploit the hills has lead. So if lead is something that we're after later on, we may want to take some of our excess population that currently is unemployed and transfer them over to the hills to create a whole new colony as a supply network for Yoda Valley. So at the start of the game, there was like a splash screen about how like complex megacities are a massive network of like supply networks, and that's exactly right. Yoda Valley only has 10, the hills has 10 and lead, and other places around here will have some sort of mix of resources, and not all the resources are going to be able to be traded for. So as we discover some of the new zones, you'll learn sort of the ins and outs of that. But that's probably what makes this game the most unique, in that it is required to essentially have multiple multiple villages and towns and cities to supply cities. The cities don't exist alone, but instead as a center of a bunch of outlying areas. We discovered the Tablelands. So, open up the diplomacy menu and try to negotiate a treaty. Requested and provided goods are then stored in the community center. So, over in the Tablelands, there is a village called Hochdorf. The Tablelands has copper. It's a much hotter, drier zone than where we live. And if I want a trade agreement with them, I need to supply them 100 water, and they will, in return, supply me with 100 exotic fruits. So let's go set up a trade agreement with them. I have a new task as well, Fluffy Friends. Provide milk for cats. A child from the village comes to you excitedly. Hello, I'd like to show you something. To do so, I need some milk. Do you have any left? Well, I do actually have some left, so let's accept that. Once we have the trade agreement with the Tablelands... Oops. So, if I just clicked on the Tablelands accidentally, but this is their village. I didn't, of course, build this. I don't own this. But this is their village. So here's their community center, their guild house. They have cabins and wind catchers. They live on a oasis plateau. And this is actually what it looks like. And then I can figure out they've got cesspits, a quarry for stone. I'm going to guess hunting lodge. I'm going to guess they have copper mines somewhere nearby. But I can click on their marketplace and see that they've got exotic fruits, veggies, fruits, grass, bread, barks, roots, nuts, water, copper bars. So they can export copper bars to us. They've got basic clothing, so on and so forth. So this is their actual town, not being governed by me. So let's go back to the Yoda Valley. While we're looking around, I can discover this location through bread alone. It's a lot of bread. But this one is basic clothing, of which we don't really have any basic clothing. We only have rough rags. And then this is 100 planks, or 60 planks, which is 57 more than we currently have. So I don't think that's reasonable either. But we do have 240 bread. So discovering a new zone through bread seems fire. Some of these locations are like physically too far away. So we'll need to make some more progress to be able to discover any further. The cabin got made. Nice. So, immigration. Yes. 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 So, Winifred and Dennis. Let's take a look at them real quick. 20 and 28. So we got the dairy building going in. It's not built yet. I could get a potter workshop going, perhaps. Or we can work on a guild house, maybe. I think I'd actually like a root cellar. And the reason for the root cellar is so that we can stockpile an even greater amount of food in order to be able to supply in the winter. Sort of a winter prep type of thing. And then the other one is maybe a potter. So I will put a potter. So the potter here uses surface water. So if I put the potter really far away, as you can see, nothing interesting within reach, which indicates that there's just not a lot of surface water around the area because the potter needs surface water or confluences to operate. So it's obviously something you should put near the shoreline because it's not going to operate properly without, some sort of water source. So I think what I'll do is I'll put it right there. So we're going to get the potter and the root cellar, and the root cellar is much. Someone actually has to work in the root cellar for the root cellar to work because they have to haul food in the root cellar for storage. Looking good. So we are discovering this area. Nice. And then we're making a trade agreement with Hotchdorf in the Tablelands. Fluffy friends. The child places a small bowl of milk in front of a shrubbery, takes a few steps, and waits. After a while, some little kittens venture off into the shrubbery. One after the other hesitantly begin drinking the milk. Child approaches the kittens carefully, sits down next to them, and begins stroking one of them. It purrs. So, we got some animals. That was a quest of ours, and we finished it. I forget, actually. Is it census? No. Well, no, there is cats. So yeah, we have some cats now. Cool. I'll put cats in the cabins for a little bit of yearly grass. Seems fine. And the dairy just opened. Perfect. So the dairy just takes milk and turns it into cheese. Jordan works there now. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to do the raw wood upgrade for additional storage so we can have a lot of cheese. Because, cheese is life. And if we take a look at the animals now in the house, we've got cats. Humans and cats. I am going to allow a well worker again, so we can really start stockpiling up on water. So Dennis is working there now. We have 2 unemployed still. one unemployed because I think something just got built. Wasn't pottery. Wasn't root cellar. Oh, probably it was just counting Dennis having joined. There we go. So we have a trade agreement with Hochdorf. I'm going to allow 2 immigrants because we had space for them. I'll surely figure out a place for them to live soon. But I'm going to put another cabin in because obviously we're going to need more. We got no more free beds. And then if I open up the map here, with the Tablelands trade agreement, I can now open up like a free trade agreement. Sets up an agreement to not collect duties or fees. Sounds good to me. And then also the right-of-way. Allows us to travel through their territories to reach distant places. Supply water and get exotic fruit. Sounds good to me. So we're going to do both of those things. Now what this opens up for us is the ability to make a market. The market, however, is a tier 3 building, as you can see. So we're going to need to increase our tier in order to level up. So if I look at the progress here, almost every single person's impediment to leveling up is the lack of basic clothing. And that is the lack of sewing basic clothing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the sewing of basic clothing up so that we take the rough rags and we turn them into basic clothing as a much higher priority. And I may need to circle back and create another rudimentary tailor again, much like I had a double one earlier, so that we can start to sew basic clothing now that we have wool. Because we do have wool, and as you can see up here, now we're starting to get basic clothing, and that's going to allow us to hit tier 3, giving us the access to the marketplace. Because after the marketplace, it wants me to import copper from Hochdorf, because there is no copper that exists on the map tile in my zone. So if I want copper, I'm going to need to, import it. With the right-of-way agreement with Hochdorf, that allows us to discover 2 new locations, but this requires practical clothing, which is a higher tier than I currently have, so that's going to have to wait. But we do have a free trade agreement. Now, apart from that, the settlement rights, allowing us to settle on their lands, is 50 pottery, which I do not have. And then collaboration is a bronze tool, which I do not have, so that's all going to have to wait. So at this point, the push is to become a tier 3 village. And the tier 3 village is basically just make sure I have a really nice basic clothes supply, because that's what everyone's getting hung up on, except for Winifred. Winifred, I guess, grabbed basic clothing first. Oh, no, doesn't have... Never mind, I take that back. I misread. Oh, that's a bronze tool. I don't have that. So the pottery has all materials pending, as does the root cellar. Good! So glad that we've made progress on that. And we still have 2 unemployed. And I'm not too fretted about that because we have their employment buildings queued already. All right, we've got a lot of, what is this, rats and European hare that are like eating the hell out of our fields. So here's what I'm going to do. Carl, I want you to hunt rats and hare, because the amount of leather that we need doesn't really matter as much anymore because we have wool. So we do have some leather. He's finally produced some leather for hunting the deer. But now that we have wool from the sheep through the barn, I am more than happy to just massacre the rats and hare. Because if we open up the census here, as you can see, the red deer, rats, raccoon... Oh, maybe I should add raccoon too. Their population growths have been spiking. Maybe because I hunted gray wolves and foxes, I'm not really sure. But in any case, we need to get rid of them. Now, the problem that we have is I also have a lot of raw meat. And I have nowhere to, like, put it. Because, I'm out of storage. So adding additional storage into our campfire might be nice so that I can actually hunt more things. So I'm doing that as well. I have immigration requests, but I have nowhere to put them yet, so I'm going to wait on that. And there we go. You can see these little, like, basic clothing needs disappearing. So it's insufficient, but it's not completely unsupplied. So given time, that will obviously change. Now, the other issue that we're having right now is we're just out of, like, grass to make these rags. So, I mean, that's also a totally valid and separate bottleneck. But as we collect the wheat, that will get fixed. Oh man, that's a lot of meat. One of the benefits of Marketplace, besides the whole like meat thing, is you can also sell off whatever you have an excessive amount of to neighbors. Alright, the small cabin's almost done. It's just waiting on some rough rags, but all of our rough rags have been turned into basic clothing, so that's one of the problems that we've been facing. But soon we'll have employment places for those last two unemployed. Ooh, and the barn's starting to look barn-like. Just a little. And it's completely full. Awesome. We discovered the lakes. So the lakes region has tin and lead. It is about the same climate as Yoda Valley, but there's no villages there. So there's no villages in the hills. There's no villages in the lakes. I'm gonna hold off on discovering anywhere else because it's like the cost of discovery is a little too high for the other areas. I'd rather just prepare for the winter myself. Fishing. How dare you? How dare you? I mean, we could do fishing here, too. But, like, I don't actually, honestly, don't think it's all that necessary, because fishing really just supplies raw meat, as far as the game's concerned, without the chance of getting leather, and without actually killing the things that eat your crops. So if I had to pick between fishing and hunting, it would be hunting hands down, because, like, these sheep and rats and hare are eating the hell out of my farm fields. And unless I want to fully fence in my farm fields, which might at some point be reasonable, hunting is what keeps their numbers down. Do sheep have access to the pen? It kind of looks like they don't. Although there is the gate. I was going to wait until the full thing was built and then like figure it out. Where are they actually? They're a great... Okay, yeah, I need to remedy this. Let's fix this building. So what I'm going to do is destroy it because I built it wrong. And put the barn in like here behind the gate, and then we'll fix the gate so that it's not stupid. Okay. Hopefully that remedies it. Because, yeah. Built it wrong. Doesn't mean it's going to work. So I know I have free beds for new people. Oh, there we go! We leveled up. So if we take a look at what is available to us at Tier 3. We've got a farm. A farm, it's worth noting, requires pottery. So that I shouldn't bother queuing up a farm until I actually have pottery stocked. A simple smelter, which smelts ores at low melting point. So that would be like tin, copper, and lead, not iron. A forester's lodge, which is like the upgraded version of the forester stump, which would be really good to build. However, again, needs pottery first. And a fishery, which I won't even talk about because you know me. Copper and bronze forge, being able to take ingots of copper and tin to turn them into bronze. A tailor shop, which is going to be better than these rudimentary ones. And that would be really good to build probably pretty early on. Carpenter shop, which allows you to make furniture, which is mostly upgraded resources for like for different buildings. You know, like bonus sleep and the like. It gives us the bakery, which is a better source than just like baking on a random hot stone in the woods. And then a granary, which allows us to supply grain and store it, you know, in better storages. Then a big cabin, which is big house. A tap room, which is a communal area that takes cereal grains and brews with like, and also serves up milk and fruit. A marketplace, which is one of the first things we're going to build as soon as we get the pottery up, because that's what the quest requires. A shrine, which is the first source of religion, and then a sweeping station, which keeps the areas clear around your streets. It basically removes dirt, which keeps people healthy. And then some other fencing options. So we have a weir, a high weir, and a spillway if you want to do damming up the river. So if you want to dam up the river, you can then build like a weir to like form your own man-made water ponds and the like. So we still need to do the pottery first, because that is more or less the prerequisite of a bunch of other projects. But having access to these new techs is going to be real nice. This forester stump is not doing anything. It's basically out of material, so I'm going to destroy it, because forester stumps are like free to build, so there's not really a point to keeping it if it's not productive. And for now, I'm just going to build it across the street from the other one, before I build the forester's lodge once I have pottery. Winter time. So, here we go. We got a new notice. First winter. The first snowfall. Which is funny because it's like snowing like crazy outside in real life for me. We've seen like 1.5 feet of snow just like in the last 24 hours. People check the store for food and available materials. Hopefully we'll survive the cold season. And possible immigration, which, yeah, I'm not doing right now. All right, let's get the census. Has we made a dent? European hare has gone down. Rats have gone down. So yeah, we made a dent in their population numbers. The other thing we could do, potentially, because during the winter we're not going to get a lot of food out of the farming area, is to employ some additional hunters. You know, to just shoot things, because why not? And there we go. The forestry stump is up. And collecting trees and branches and the like, or raw wood and branches. Alright, 6 planks left until we have the potter's workshop built. That is mostly just a matter of the getting the sawing place. And that's just making sure that we have enough raw wood to saw into planks. We seem to have a decent amount of raw wood, so I think it's just a matter of time. I just need to be patient. Oh, the other thing I'd really like is the barn to get built. The one that we like screwed up. Stupid raccoons keep stealing from me. I'm gonna have to kill some raccoons. Would it be worth getting another sawing place? Probably. So I'm going to get another one real quick. Because I have more raw materials and not a lot of planks. And I think it's going to be probably a net benefit as a result. Okay, there we go. And this one... You know what I could have done is I could have hired another person. That would have made like a bit more sense. Maybe we'll just hire another person in the other one. Open up the vacancy. This does allow me to like hire 3, so I'm taking advantage of that and just trying to make as many planks as we can. Thank you for tuning in to Of Life and Land, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow settlers.